Hello, dear Lana, and everybody that watches my videos. Wilfred Mumanyi Onkangi-Kiongozi. I'm back again with content, and this time round, this weekend we are doing biology content. Before we go into dipping into the content, I would like to give a lot of gratitude and thanks to all my followers, and especially the big school in Nakuru County, Nakuru City called Lanet Secondary School, especially the class of 2023. You guys continue spreading the gospel. Today I'm doing photosynthesis, the process of photosynthesis, and this is courtesy of a student from Uganda and called Theon, some name, I don't remember, but wherever you are, you're watching me. You gave us these assignments and I have done good research for you, and actually as we do this video, we have you in mind. All the best in your exams. So now I want to take you through the process of photosynthesis. And it's good you understand that photosynthesis is a characteristic of green plants. In Form 1, you learned about characteristics of living organisms. And you talked about nutrition as a characteristic of living organisms. And you gave a difference between animals and plants. You said that plants manufacture their own food. And plants, we have two types of plants. We have two categories, and as far as color is concerned, we have green plants. We also have non-green plants. So all plants will manufacture their own food, but green plants will manufacture their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Non-green plants will also manufacture their own food, but the process is not photosynthesis. It is chemosynthesis. So we are interested in photosynthesis. And as usual, have somewhere to write, concentrate, and do your best in this lesson. So what is photosynthesis? We want to define photosynthesis. Definition: photosynthesis is the process by which green plants, and I underline green plants, synthesize their own food by use of sunlight energy from two things. A, we can put a colon there, carbon 4 oxide, and B, water. So in other words, these are the two raw materials, of photosynthesis. Now, if you look at this terminology, photosynthesis, photo means light. Then synthesis refers to manufacture. So green plants require light, and also these two raw materials to be able to manufacture their own food. This food is going to be used by the same plants and also by other organisms within a given ecosystem. You know very well, plants are sources of food for so many organisms. Plants are producers. This is Form 3. They are producers in any given ecosystem, and they are the first ones that receive energy from the sun. That is where the sunlight energy now comes into play. So raw materials, well done. And now briefly, we can talk about chemosynthesis. Chemosynthesis. This is a process by which non-green plants manufacture their own food. That is, oxidize chemicals to produce energy that is useful in that plant. So this one is for non-green plants. We have so many plants that are not green. They all manufacture their own food. Photosynthesis occurs in two stages. Photosynthesis occurs in two stages. And the two stages are very important. But before I talk about the two stages, there is an important organelle called the chloroplast. The chloroplast is a cell organelle that is found in green plants. This chloroplast has a responsibility because this is now the site for photosynthesis. In this case, I will briefly tell you, we have several parts. This is how it looks like. It has double membranes. Has the inner and the outer membranes. Then it has the grana or the grana in plural. I'm showing you a few of the parts that are necessary in this process of photosynthesis. There is a fluid matrix called the stroma. This one is the outer membrane. We have the inner membrane. They are not very important in this chapter. This one here, the darker structures, one is called granum. A granum, if they are several for plural, we say grana for plural. So that is a very important, this is a very important structure in photosynthesis. We also have this one that is also very, very important, the stroma. Then we have this structure between the grana. It is called the lamella or the intergranum, goes singular. So these are the two important parts of a chloroplast that will be site for photosynthesis: the stroma and the grana. So we go to the stages of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis has two stages. We can call them phases. They are very brief. One, we have the light stage, and two, we have the dark stage. These are the two stages. Light stage depends on light, and so it is called light dependent stage. There is also another term. In this light dependent stage, light is used, so we call it photolysis. I will explain to you what photolysis means. Photo means light, lysis means split. I will tell you what is being split. Dark stage is also called light independence. Light independence stage. Independent means doesn't depend on light. It is also called carbon 4 oxide fixation. Carbon 4 oxide fixation. I will tell you what is being fixed. Let us start with light stage or the photolysis stage of photosynthesis. Photolysis. Photolysis, which we are calling light stage. Light dependent stage. So here, light, as we said, photo means light. Light energy is used to split water molecules into hydrogen ions and oxygen atoms. And oxygen, we can say molecules or atoms. So what happens here? Light, photo, is used to split water molecules. So this is the first raw material that has been used in the first phase of photosynthesis. So water is split. We can have a small word equation. But before that, it takes place in the granum. So in the granum, I think you saw that diagram, that is where light is being absorbed. Remember, chlorophyll absorbs light energy. And this light energy is what is being used to split water molecules into hydrogen ions and oxygen atoms. We can write a simple word equation. So word equation for the process. Word equation, you write this way. You say water in words, then you put an arrow, is split. So on this arrow you write the condition that is necessary. The condition, sunlight energy, split into hydrogen ions plus oxygen gas or molecules. Now look at this. You can write a balanced chemical equation from this word equation. So balanced chemical equation. So in this case, we write the chemical symbol for water, which is H2O. Then we put an arrow, and every time we are putting an arrow, we must write the condition. You can say UV light, that is ultraviolet light that is from sunlight. And then you write hydrogen ions, that is a positive there to indicate ions. And then plus oxygen exists as a molecule, so O2. What you do here, you balance this chemical equation by counting the number of hydrogen and oxygen atoms on the reactant side, and of course balance it with the product side. We have two hydrogens, or let us start with oxygens. We have two oxygens. So what we do, we put 2 here so that we have 2 on this side, and on the right hand side we have 2. Now that one has affected the hydrogen atoms. We have 2 times 2, which is 4, and we have only 1 on the right hand side, so you put your 4 there. 2 molecules of water are split into 4 hydrogen ions plus a molecule of oxygen. This is the whole process of photolysis. Now, the remaining thing is to tell you or give an account of where these products end. These are the products they are the waste products or the byproducts of photolysis. Where does hydrogen go? Where does oxygen go? Let us continue writing. So, Lana, we are giving an account of where oxygen, so we start with hydrogen, or let us start with oxygen. Oxygen produced in light stage, oxygen produced is expelled or taken out of the plants to the atmosphere. But remember, not all of it is taken to the atmosphere. Of course, in the atmosphere, it will be used by animals. But some oxygen remains within the plant. Some oxygen remains within the plants for processes like respiration. So the plant also uses some little oxygen that is gotten from light stage. That's a full account of where oxygen goes to. The next one is hydrogen ions. Hydrogen ions are very important in dark stage. Hydrogen ions are taken to dark stage. They are taken to dark stage where they are combined with carbon 4 oxide to produce food. And that marks the end of light stage. Hydrogen gotten or hydrogen ions produced are taken to dark stage, and this is what we are calling carbon 4 oxide fixation. Carbon 4 oxide fixation. We are fixing carbon 4 oxide with hydrogen ions so that we can produce simple sugars or food that is now our interest. So we go to dark stage. Dark stage, we have three terminologies for it. This is number 2. We say dark stage, which is also called light independence. And of course, we can call it carbon, we have said it already, carbon 4 oxide fixation. This is very simple. First of all, it takes place in the stroma, in the fluid matrix. Takes place in the stroma. The stroma is the fluid matrix of the chloroplast. So that is where the reaction takes place. What happens here? Carbon 4 oxide combines with hydrogen ions from light stage to produce food or simple sugars, to produce simple sugars. This is what we are calling food. Remember, it is important to note that carbon 4 oxide is our second raw material. The first raw material was useful in the light stage. The second raw material is now useful in the dark stage of photosynthesis. So what we do next, we write the chemical equation of this process. We can start with the word equation first. So the word equation here we have carbon 4 oxide plus hydrogen ions, hydrogen ions gives us carbon dioxide plus hydrogen ions gives us simple food. And simple food, this is a carbohydrate. We talk about things like glucose, talk about things like fructose, galactose. So we have a general formula for them. Because again, the kind of food substance formed here depends on the way the reaction takes place. We can say a general equation for the simple foods. We say hydrocarbons, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And in this case, remember, the ratio of hydrogen to these others is 2. So we put the brackets here and put a small n there. Meaning, the number of carbon atoms will determine the type of food that is produced. So in this case, we have our general equation there. And of course, again, in this process, water is produced plus water, plus water, plus water. So because I said we are writing our equation, let me give this one as simple sugars, so that I do the chemical one in a chemical equation. So simple sugars. So we have simple sugars plus water. This is our equation. Carbon dioxide plus hydrogen ions gives us simple sugars and water. Chemical equation. So we write the symbols of these reactants. Chemical equation. We have carbon dioxide written as CO2 plus hydrogen ions. Remember the 4 hydrogen ions that we got from the reaction that we had. The 4 hydrogen ions. But we shall know how to balance it to bring it to 4. But it is 4. Giving us simple sugars, the general formula that I have already shown you. Yeah, bracket. Then you put C, hydrogen, 2, then oxygen, and then you close the bracket and write N there. Then plus water. Plus water is written as H2O. Now start from hydrogen ions. Look at the product side. We have 2 hydrogens and of course 2 hydrogens. So 2 plus 2 is 4, and we only have 1 here. So we write the 4 that I was almost writing. Then from there we go to the carbon atoms. Let us balance. Carbon is 1 here, carbon is 1 there, balanced. Let us go to oxygen. Oxygen is 2. Oxygen is 1 plus 1, 2. This is a balanced chemical equation. It is balanced. In this case, I have not indicated any condition necessary here because we said light is not useful. So we have not indicated any condition here. If you write that condition of UV or sunlight energy, you get it wrong because this is dark stage. The next thing is, of course, in this stage, the whole process gives us what we call ATP. From light stage, there is formation of what we call ATP molecules. Yeah, ATP molecules. These are adenosine triphosphate molecules that are used in storage of energy. So that energy that is used in the whole process is also produced in the same process. The last thing now, before we wind up this chapter, is to talk about the general equation of photosynthesis. General equation of photosynthesis, whereby we shall now write the 2 raw materials reacting to give us the end product of the whole process. General equation. General equation of the whole process of photosynthesis. General equation of photosynthesis process. This one now will encompass, it will have all the reactants, all the raw materials. So we shall say, we start with the word equation. We have carbon 4 oxide plus water then you put the arrow, gives us glucose plus oxygen. Glucose plus oxygen. So this is the general equation. That is the word equation. Chemical equation: CO2 plus H2O. Check on the way I'm writing my O's because you may go wrong. Giving us glucose is C6H12O6. That ratio, remember there was a 2 here, so we have 6 carbon atoms plus oxygen. Oxygen is O2. Now we go to balancing this chemical equation. Look at the number of oxygen atoms. Now we start with hydrogen because it looks like it is already stable. Hydrogen atoms on the right hand side, 12. So come here, you have to put 6 here so that you make them 12. Let us go to carbon atoms. Carbon on the right hand side is 6 on the product side. So we also put another 6 here to make it balanced. Let us see what has happened to the oxygen. Already the reactants, there's nothing we can do to it, to them. So 6 molecules of carbon dioxide. 6 times 2 of oxygen is 12. 12 plus 6, another 6, that means is 18. There's nothing we can do on the left hand side. So this 18 must balance on the right hand side. That is, we already have 6 and we are looking for 18. So you say 18 minus 6 is 12. Now we have a number here. So it is good we put 6 here so that we multiply 6 times 2 to get the 12 that we require. This is a balanced general process or equation for photosynthesis. Remember, the raw materials are in place. The end products are in place. But now on the arrow we have to write the 2 conditions that are necessary. 1, sunlight energy. Sunlight energy. So many people like calling it UV light energy. It's okay. Don't just say UV light, say UV light energy. Condition number 2, chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. So these 2 are conditions necessary. Raw materials were 2. Carbon dioxide and water. Conditions necessary are 2. Sunlight energy and chlorophyll. The end products are 2. We are dealing with the number 2. Glucose plus oxygen. There is a question that is very common in the exams. You will be asked to give the end products of light stage. This is a very common question and very many students confuse. They instead give the products of photosynthesis. Light stage, the products are 2. That is oxygen and hydrogen. You can say oxygen atoms and hydrogen ions. I hope you've been with me through the whole video, through the whole discussion. This is going to be an essay question. This is an essay question which may earn you very good marks. And in case you get a question that is maybe 2, 3 or 1 mark in the course of doing your paper 1 or 2, you need to get it correct. From this lesson to the next lesson, I'm so grateful. Thank you very much. See you later.